Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, did you know that 80% of the data breaches are due to the weak or stolen passwords? Now, seriously, how many of you are guilty using the same password on your multiple accounts? Now, if that's you, now stick around because we need to talk about the password safety. All right, so let's dive in. So today we're discussing very important topic, which is password safety. In our digital world, like data breaches are happening all the time, and your personal information is always at risk. Now, so whether it's your social media account, your online bank, or even your gaming profile, make sure that your passwords are strong and secure. Now, most people are completely clueless about password safety. So I'm here to set the records straight. Now, how many of you use the same password on multiple accounts? Now, in today's, it's an interconnected world where we rely on internet for everything from like banking to social media. The importance of password safety has never been more critical. When data breaches and cyber attacks are becoming increasingly common, now safeguarding our online accounts is extremely essential. So hackers are constantly evolving their tactics, and a weak or easily guessable password can leave you vulnerable to identity theft, financial loss, or even personal privacy violations. So think about it, from your email and social media accounts to online banking and shopping platforms, passwords are the gatekeepers to some of your most sensitive information. In fact, a single compromised password could potentially expose your entire digital life. Now, that's why adopting a strong password practice is extremely important, and it's not just a good habit, it's a necessity to protect yourself in a world where cyber security threats are always looming. So in this video, we will dive into why password safety is so important and how can you create strong and secure passwords. And tips on managing them efficiently. So let's take control of our online security, one password at a time. Now let's talk about the prevalent issues with password management. Now, in the digital age, one of the most overlooked aspects of online security is proper password management. Despite the rising awareness of cyber attacks, many users still fall into the bad habits that can leave their personal information vulnerable to attackers. Two of the most common issues are weak password and the habit of reusing those passwords across multiple sites. Now, what are weak passwords? Now, many people still opt for passwords that are, easy to remember, like 123456, or just password, or even their, own names and birthdays. While it's convenient, these passwords are incredibly easy for hackers to guess using automated tools or simple social engineering tactics. So weak passwords often lack the complexity needed to thwart those hacking attempts, making them easy targets for brute force attacks. Now, that is, some common characteristics of weak passwords include short length, like passwords that are fewer than 8 characters are easily cracked. Now, common words or phrases, simple words or predictable combinations, for example, QWERTY, or let me in, or just like 123456. They're commonly found in password databases used by hackers. Lack of complexity, that means passwords don't include a mix of numbers, letters, and special characters or symbols, which are significantly less secure. Now, another problem is reusing the passwords across sites. Now, it's another widespread problem is the reuse of the same password across multiple accounts. While it's tempting to use one password for everything because it's really easy to remember, but this practice possesses a major security risk. Now, if a hacker manages to steal your credentials from one site, they can try the same username and password combinations on other platforms, a tactic known as credential stuffing. So this means that a data breach on low security site could lead to unauthorized access to your most important accounts, such as your bank, email, or work-related systems as well. Now, why these issues basically matter. The consequences of poor password management can be severe. So, number one, data breaches. Once a hacker gets access to one of your accounts, they can exploit that information to steal personal data or even hijack your other accounts. Number two is financial loss. So, reusing passwords could allow hackers to access sensitive financial accounts, potentially leading to unauthorized transactions or identity theft. And the third one is the compromise of privacy. Hackers gain access to your social media or email accounts, can invade your privacy, steal your personal communications, and even impersonate you. So, what can be done? Now, to combat these issues, it's crucial to adopt a good password hygiene. Now, how do you create a good password? Number one, create strong, unique passwords for each account. Now, it's difficult to remember, all the different kind of passwords that you create. So, to tackle that problem, use a password manager to generate and store complex passwords securely. Number three, enable the multi-factor authentication, or it's called as like MFA, where possible, for an extra layer of security. Now, in today's digital world, practicing good password management is not an optional. It's essential to protect your personal and professional data from the ever-growing risk of cybercrime. Now, what are the best practices for creating strong passwords and enhancing security? With the increasing prevalence of cyber attacks, securing your online account is more important than ever. To protect yourself, it's crucial to follow the best practices when creating passwords. Consider using a password manager and enable two-factor authentication for additional security. Now, let's explore these strategies in a bit detail. Best practices for creating strong password. Creating a strong password is your first line of defense against hackers. Here's how to ensure your password is robust and difficult to crack. So, what are the characteristics of a strong password? Number one is the length. Aim for at least 12 to 16 characters. Now, longer passwords are harder to break with brute force attacks. Complexity. Now, use a mix of uppercase and lowercase letters, numbers, and special characters, such as you have the exclamation mark, at, and then you have the pound symbol, etc. Avoid common words or phrases. Avoid personal information, so don't include easily guessed information like your name, your birthday, or common words like, for example, password 123. Now, paraphrases. Consider using a paraphrase, an easy to remember but complex series of random words or a sentence. For example, purple, apple, exclamation, trees, the number 4, ever, exclamation. So you can customize this based on uppercase and lowercase. It will also have a special character. It will have a number. So it's a complex password. Now, unique passwords for each account. Never reuse passwords across multiple platforms. Now, each account should have its own unique password to prevent a domino effect in case of a breach. Now, by following these guidelines, you significantly reduce the chances of a hacker guessing or cracking your password. Now, let's talk about the importance of using the password managers. While creating and remembering strong, unique password for every account is essential, it can be difficult to track them all. That's where a password manager comes in. The benefits of using a password manager is it generates a complex password. Now, password managers can create long, random passwords that are nearly impossible to guess. Stores the password securely instead of relying, on memory or insecure methods like, writing down your password somewhere. Now, password managers store your credentials in an encrypted vault. Convenience. Now, you only need to remember one master password to access your vault, while the password manager handles the logging into your accounts. The cross-platform syncing. Many password managers work across multiple devices, so you can access your account securely from your phone or your computer or from your tablet anytime that you want. Some of the popular password managers are LastPass, 1Password. They're trusted by millions of users for their ability to simplify and secure the password management. Now, how to choose a good password manager? Look for managers with end-to-end encryption. Choose the one with multi-device support. Ensure it supports MFA or the multi-factor authentication for an added security. Now, by using a password manager, you can create and store long, unique passwords for all your accounts, reducing the risk of password theft or reuse. Now, even with strong passwords, a determined hacker may still find ways to compromise your accounts. Now, this is where two-factor authentication steps in to provide an additional layer of security. So what is a two-factor authentication? Now, two-factor authentication requires you to verify your identity using two different methods when logging into your account. Number one, something you know, which is your password. Number two, something you have, which is a second factor, such as a code sent to your phone or a physical security key. Now, why is two-factor authentication important? Because it provides an extra protection. So even if a hacker gets your password, they won't be able to access your account without the second factor. For example, time-sensitive codes or a physical device. It also mitigates the risk of phishing. If a phishing scam captures your password, the attacker still can't gain access without the second form of verification. So that's one of the benefits that you get. Now, what are the types of two-factor authentications? Number one is SMS or email codes. So a one-time code is sent to your phone or email. Though, convenient, it's less secure than the other methods due to SIM swapping or email hacks. Now, use of authenticator apps like Google Authenticator or Authy or Microsoft Authenticator, they generate like time-based one-time codes. They're called as like TOTP. On your device. These are more secure than the SMS-based two-factor authentications. Now, hardware tokens, devices like YubiKey, they provide the highest level of security by requiring you to physically connect the token to your device or press a button for authentication. So by enabling two-factor authentication on your most important accounts, such as your email, banking, or social media, you add a critical safeguard that significantly reduces the chances of unauthorized access. So in today's world, simply using a password is no longer enough to protect your account. So by following the best practices for creating strong passwords, utilizing a password manager, and enabling two-factor authentication, you can greatly enhance your online security. Remember, strong passwords are the foundation of your account's security. Password managers simplify the process of generating and managing those secure passwords. Two-factor authentication adds a crucial layer of protection, even if your password is compromised. So by taking these steps, you can protect your personal data and enjoy greater peace of mind in the face of growing cyber threats. Let's talk about a shocking example of a major data breach caused by weak passwords. The 2012 LinkedIn breach. So one of the most alarming examples of the posed by the weak passwords is the infamous, the LinkedIn data breach in 2012. At that time, LinkedIn was a major professional networking site used by like millions of people to connect and share work-related information. However, due to weak password security practices, the platform suffered a massive breach that compromised over 117 million user accounts. Now, how did that happen? In 2012, hackers gained access to LinkedIn's database and stole millions of usernames and passwords. One of the primary reasons the attack was so successful was that many users were using weak and easily guessable passwords like 123456 and password. Even worse, LinkedIn was storing passwords using outdated and weak encryption methods, which made it easier for hackers to decrypt the stolen data. In 2016, it was revealed that the breach was even larger than initially thought, affecting like 117 million accounts, and the stolen data was put up for sale on the dark web, giving cyber criminals access to sensitive information. This breach has serious consequences for LinkedIn users. What are the risks and the consequences? Let's take a look. Number one is the credentials stuffing attacks. Now, many users reuse the same passwords across different sites. Hackers use the LinkedIn credentials to break into other accounts, including email, banking, and social media platforms, leading identity theft and financial loss. It's widespread phishing scams. Now, with access to personal information, hackers were able to craft sophisticated phishing attacks, tricking people into revealing even more sensitive data, like credit card numbers and social security details. Reputation damage. Now, LinkedIn faced significant backlash for its poor security practices, and users lost trust in the platform. The company had to implement stronger encryption methods and introduce better security measures, but the damage had already been done. So, what we can learn? The LinkedIn breach is a stark reminder of the importance of using strong, unique passwords for every account. A single weak password can be the entry point for a massive data breach, leading to a cascade of security risks across multiple accounts and platforms. This incident also highlights the importance of enabling a two-factor authentication, as it would have added an extra layer of protection even if the passwords were stolen. For companies, it's underscored that the need to implement modern encryption methods and security protocols to safeguard user data effectively. Now, in today's world, weak passwords are a ticking time bomb. Now, the LinkedIn breach shows just how devastating the consequences can be when password security is neglected. Let's recap the key points about password safety and protecting your personal information. In today's world, password safety is one of the most crucial aspects of protecting your personal information from cyber threats. Here are the key takeaways to keep in mind. The risk of weak passwords. Weak passwords like 123456 or password are easily guessed by hackers using automated tools. Using personal information or common words in your passwords leave you vulnerable to brute force attacks and dictionary attacks and stuff like that. A single weak password can lead to multiple account breaches, as seen in the LinkedIn data breach that compromised millions of users. Number 2, avoid reusing passwords. Now, reusing passwords across different sites is dangerous. If one account gets hacked, cybercriminals can exploit the same password on other platforms in credential stuffing attacks. Always create unique passwords for each account to prevent widespread damage if one is compromised. Now, what are the best practices for creating strong passwords? Use long passwords, 12 to 16 characters that combine like upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and special symbols. Avoid using a easily guessed personal information like names, birthdays in your password. Consider using a passphrase, now a random combination of words or a sentence that's easy to remember, but it's hard to guess. Use a password manager. A password manager simplifies the process of generating and storing strong, unique passwords for each account. Now, password managers store your credentials securely, so you only need to remember one master password. Popular tools include like LastPass, 1Password that you can definitely try. Next is enabling your two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication adds an extra layer of security by requiring a second verification step like one-time code or security key in addition to your password. Even if your password is stolen, two-factor authentication helps prevent the unauthorized access to your accounts. Now, use an authenticator app or hardware tokens for stronger 2FA than SMS-based methods. So what's the conclusion? Strong passwords, unique for each account, combined with the use of password manager and two-factor authentication are essential steps to safeguard your online presence. Adopting these better practices will significantly reduce the risk of data breaches, identity theft, and other forms of cybercrime, keeping your personal and financial information secure in today's interconnected world. So now that we have explored the world of password safety, I want to hear from you. How strong do you think your passwords are? Be honest. Are you guilty of reusing the passwords across multiple accounts, or are you, rocking those long, complex passphrases? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, if this video got you thinking about ways to boost your online security, you'll definitely want to check out one of my other videos where I have shared about a phishing scam and some other tips and tricks on the cybersecurity as well. So from setting up to two-factor authentication to using, password managers the right way, we've got it covered. So check out, the cybersecurity video. I'll just share that on the top right corner, so you can just click and watch that. Hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on my latest updates and videos, of course, on the latest tips and tricks on devices, technology, security. And remember, a strong password is your first line of defense in protecting your digital life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.